My father continuously makes fun of my body and won't listen when I ask him to stop because he is just joking. So, my in-laws finally snapped and shattered his ego. I've struggled with body image since I was little. My stomach a bit round. My thighs always felt too big. No matter how well I eat, those parts of me never change. I'm 5'3" and somewhere between 110 to 120 pounds. And the stretch marks, they're everywhere. I don't even know where they came from. School was hell. The teasing got so cruel, I eventually dropped out. The trauma left me so broken, I nearly gave up on life. Even the teachers laughed when I asked for help. My parents barely noticed. What kept me alive was one person, Knox. We started dating back then, and he's still with me. He says, I'm beautiful, just as I am, but I never fully believed him. What hurts most is that the person who broke me the most was my dad. He's always been the funny guy, cracking jokes, lighting up the room. But now, I don't think I can ever see him the same way. He knew how I felt about my body. He used to say he supported me, cheered me on when I worked out. Now I wonder if it was all fake. It started about a year ago. His comments at first, light-hearted, or so I thought. Then came the jabs, about my stretch marks, the way my thighs looked in jeans, little pinches that felt more like punches. Crushed me. My Aunt Celine, who's basically been my second mom, stepped in when I couldn't. The remarks stopped for a while, but a few months back, I got brave. I wore shorts for the first time in years to visit home. That's when it happened. He pinched my thigh and said, "What's this? I thought you passed away." Then he laughed, jiggling the skin between his fingers. I burst into tears. Knox drove me home while I cried the entire way. It opened a floodgate of pain I'd buried deep. The jokes didn't stop. I tried to tune them out. Then 3 days ago, I was at my parents' place, going over birthday outfit ideas with my mom. Out of nowhere, he chimed in. "Why is your waist so wide? Your hips look like they're climbing mountains." I bit my lip, trying to stay calm, but then he said it. "You'll never fit in anything she picks. Just cut some holes in a trash bag. Maybe you'll look human." I dropped my phone. Tears poured down. Knox hugged me tight while I sobbed. When I confronted my dad, he laughed it off. "You're too sensitive. It's just a joke." That's when it got worse. He did it again. This time in front of guests. He pinched my belly, my hips, even made a comment about my stretch marks like he just discovered them. I begged him to stop. He told me to stop being dramatic. Knox wanted to defend me, but I begged him not to escalate. I tried again to talk. With my dad privately. Same cold reaction. Then came the breaking point. My parents came over while Knox's family was visiting. I was wearing tights. My dad loudly asked, "Why do your thighs wobble like that? Are you even working out?" My mom laughed. Knox's parents looked stunned. That's when his dad lost it. He told my father he was a disgrace, that the way he tore me down emotionally was cruel. Knox jumped in. Even his mom, who's usually quiet, spoke up. Celine was called. She stood by me, fierce and firm. Together, they demanded an apology, or they'd lose me forever. My parents apologized, but my dad, he didn't get it. "It's what dads do," he insisted. The next day, he dropped off a bag with holes cut into it. "Here's your dress," he smirked. "Just widen the holes for your arms and legs. Oh, and don't forget a belt." I froze. Later that night, he messaged me mocking my art and writing. Said I'd never be as good as the perfect characters I draw. Said I don't have it. That maybe the siblings I lost at birth would have been better than me. That's when Celine and I decided enough. We sent him a gift basket. Inside was a letter, pointing out his own weight problems. listing therapists he and my mom should see and a formal notice that we were done. I removed them from my 21st birthday invite list. Warned them I'd involve police if they tried. Contacting me again, Celine. Blocked their numbers, then told the extended family everything. My parents are now the ones being cut off. Even with all that pain, I feel something new now. Pride. It's wild how the deepest cuts come from those you love most. But also how freeing it feels to finally say, "You don't get to hurt me anymore." From the time I was little, I hated mirrors. My stomach always stuck out more than it should. My thighs rubbed together when I walked. No matter how clean I ate, no matter how many workouts I forced myself through, my body just stayed the same. I'm 5'3" and weigh between 110 to 120 pounds, but it never felt enough, especially not with the stretch marks deep, silvery scars I couldn't explain. They just appeared one day like evidence of battles I don't even remember fighting. School was hell. Kids can be cruel, but nothing hurts more than when the teachers join in. I remember begging one to make the bullying stop, and she laughed. My parents barely noticed, but one person didn't knock. He was the only light in that darkness. We started dating back in school, and somehow he never left. He told me I was beautiful every day, even when I didn't believe it. Even when I cried in changing rooms and hid under baggy clothes, he stood by me. Knox became my reason to hold on. But the person who shattered me the most, my father. He's always been the funny guy. Loud, charming, the one everyone loves at parties. People say he lights up the room. But what no one sees is how often that light burns me. He used to encourage me when I tried to eat healthy or work out, or so I thought. Looking back, I wonder if it was all just performance. About a year ago, it began light teasing about my stretch marks, my figure. Then it escalated. "You sure those jeans still fit?" he'd say, pinching my thigh like it was some kind of game. Yikes, when did this get here? It wasn't teasing. It was slow, targeted emotional warfare. I flinched every time. Shrunk a little. More each day. It got so bad my Aunt Celine, my second mother, really had to step in and tell him to stop. For a while he did, but a few months ago I decided to be brave. I wore shorts to a family visit, first time in years. My hands shook. The whole drive there, and when I walked in, my dad pinched my thigh and laughed. "What's this? I thought you died." He jiggled my skin between his fingers like it was some cruel toy. I burst into tears. Knox drove me home as I cried the entire way. But the worst part? That wasn't the end. 3 days ago, I was at my parents' house, showing birthday outfit ideas to my mom when my dad walked in. He didn't even hesitate. "Why is your waist so wide?" he said. "Your hips look like they're climbing mountains." I tried to stay calm, biting my lip. But then he chuckled and said, "Just cut holes in a trash bag. Maybe then you'll look human." I dropped my phone. Knox held me as I sobbed. When I confronted my dad, all he said was, "You're too sensitive. It's just a joke." The next day he doubled down in front of guests. He pinched my belly, my hips, even commented on my stretch marks again. I begged him to stop. "You're being dramatic," he smirked. Knox wanted to step in. I told him not to. I didn't want a war. But then came the breaking point. My parents came over while Knox's family was visiting. I was wearing tights. My dad looked at me, sneered, and said loudly, "Why do your thighs wobble like that? Are you even trying?" My mom laughed. Knox's parents were stunned. That's when Knox's dad stood up. And he didn't just defend me, he destroyed my father. He called my dad a disgrace. Said mocking your own child's body wasn't humor, was cruelty. Even Knox's quiet mother spoke up. Then Celine came over. She stood tall, unwavering, beside me. They told my parents, "Apologize, or you lose her forever." And they did. Kind of, but my dad still didn't get it. "That's what dads do," he said. The very next day, he dropped off a black trash bag with holes cut in it. "Here's your dress," he smirked. "Don't forget a belt." I froze. That night, he messaged me again, mocking my drawings, my writing, telling me I'd never be as talented as the characters I create, that maybe the siblings I lost at birth would have turned out better than me. That's when I was done. Selene and I put together a gift basket. Inside, a letter. It detailed every cruel thing he'd done. It pointed out his own weight issues. It listed therapists for him and my mother. And it ended with this: "You are no longer welcome in my life." I took their names off my 21st birthday invite list. I warned them if they tried to contact me again, I'd go to the police. Selene blocked their numbers. She told the extended family everything, and now they're the ones being cut off. After all that pain, I feel something I never thought I would. Pride, because yes, it hurts that the one who broke me most was the man who should have protected me. But it also feels powerful to finally say, "You don't get to hurt me anymore." Story to my brother's wedding seemed perfect until my wife whispered, "We have to leave now." When I asked why, she said, "I'll explain in the car." In the silence of the drive home, she finally said, "You really didn't notice." The real purpose of that wedding was Chapter 1, the moment the music died. The wedding was flawless. White roses lined the aisle, string quartet in the corner. My brother Ethan stood at the altar looking nervous but happy, hands trembling as he waited for his bride to appear. Family and friends smiled, clinketed glasses, posed for pictures. Even the air smelled like champagne and fresh linen. I was proud of him. After everything we'd been through, the fallout from our parents' ugly divorce, the pressure of running the family business, he finally had something that was his, a moment of peace. My wife Hannah stood beside me in her navy blue dress, clutching my hand tighter than usual. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. I chalked it up to wedding fatigue. She was never one for big events. But then, right as the officiant began speaking, she leaned in and whispered, "We have to leave now." I turned to her, startled. "What? Are you okay?" She didn't meet my eyes. "I'll explain in the car. Please don't make a scene." A strange chill crept down my back. Her grip on my wrist tightened. I glanced around. No one else seemed to notice anything. Off, my brother beamed. His bride smiled demurely. I stood, muttered an apology, and quietly followed Hannah out the side door. The car ride was silent. Hannah stared straight ahead, her jaw clenched. I could hear her heart pounding. Or maybe it was mine. 10 minutes passed, then 20. Finally, as the city lights flickered past us and the reception faded into memory behind us, I broke the silence. "Hannah, what the hell is going on?" She didn't answer right away. Then she exhaled, slow, broken. "You really didn't notice." "Notice what?" She shook her head. "Of course you didn't. You trust him. You always trusted him." A sharp pit bloomed in my stomach. "Hannah," I said this time more firmly, "what are you trying to tell me?" She finally looked at me, and her eyes were wet with guilt. The wedding wasn't just a wedding, it was a goodbye. My pulse quickened. "To what?" She closed her eyes. "To us, to everything you believed was real." And that's when the truth started unraveling. Chapter 2. The confession that changed everything. Hannah's voice was barely above a whisper. "I've been sleeping with Ethan." The words crashed through the silence like glass shattering on tile. I blinked once, twice, waiting for some kind of punchline. Some sign that she was joking, but she just looked at me, pale, trembling, ashamed. I laughed, a cold, hollow sound. What? She turned away, eyes fixed on the passing traffic. I didn't know how to tell you. I didn't want to ruin everything. But when I saw her walking down the aisle today, she choked on her words. I realized I was just one of many. One of her warm-up acts. I stared at her, heart pounding. What do you mean her? Hannah met my gaze, her voice shaking now. Your brother didn't just cheat on his bride. He used the whole engagement to clean up a trail of affairs, including me. And I let it happen because I thought it meant something. I thought I meant something. I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. So, let me get this straight, I said slowly. You were cheating on me with my brother, and now you're upset because he didn't choose you. I'm not asking for forgiveness, she said quietly. I'm trying to warn you. Warn me. Hannah reached into her purse and pulled out a small envelope. Inside were photos, time-stamped, intimate.Ethan with other women. Different cities, different faces, but all within the last 6 months. One was even dated 2 nights before the wedding. There's more, she said. I think the whole marriage is a setup. He didn't marry her out of love. I stared at the images, my stomach twisting. Hannah added, he said something once late at night. He joked that she was connected. Like marrying her would help him unlock something big. He called it his golden key. Suddenly, I remembered something. Last year, Ethan's business was in trouble. Major debt? Then overnight, it bounced back. He told me it was from smart investing, but I'd seen no record of that. And now it made sense. This wasn't just betrayal. This was calculated. A marriage not built on love, but on greed. And now my wife was caught in the fallout. I pulled over to the side of the road, letting the weight of it all sink in. My brother had betrayed me. My wife had betrayed me. And together, they thought I'd just stay broken. But I wasn't going to rage. I wasn't going to scream. I was going to destroy everything they built quietly, precisely, and completely. Chapter 3. The Setup. The days that followed felt like walking on scorched earth. Every step forward revealing just how far the betrayal had spread. But I wasn't going to act out of anger. That's what they would expect. Instead, I began laying the groundwork for something far more powerful than rage. I wanted justice, and I wanted it to be irreversible. Step 1. Information warfare. I started with what I already had, the photos Hannah had given me, but I wasn't about to rely solely on the word of a woman who'd betrayed me. I needed proof that couldn't be dismissed or denied. So I reached out to a former college friend, James. He ran a cybersecurity firm and owed me a favor from years ago. Within a week, he helped me pull metadata from Ethan's social media accounts, track down burner emails, and even uncovered a hidden messaging app on a spare business phone Ethan had tossed years ago and never properly wiped. What we found confirmed everything. Dozens of hotel bookings under fake names. Cash wire transfers from Ethan to at least 4 other women. A trail of online conversations dating back almost 2 years with women who clearly didn't know each other. Existed. The piece de resistance. One message to a friend. Marrying Alyssa is the smartest financial decision I've ever made. Her dad basically signs blank checks. I just have to keep my halo on for a while. That halo was about to be set on fire. Step 2. The power behind the bride. Alyssa, Ethan's new bride, wasn't just anyone. Her father, Gerald Langdon, was a tech titan who funded startups and owned half the city's real estate. The man was known for loyalty and ruthlessness in equal measure, and he adored his daughter. So I arranged a meeting. It wasn't easy, but with help from James and a carefully crafted email titled, Errant, Your Son-in-Law's Secret Life. I got a 15-minute window at Gerald's private office. I came prepared. Photos, messages, financial trails, everything laid out in a black binder, page after devastating page. Gerald sat in silence, his jaw tightening with every turn. When I finally finished, he didn't speak. He just stood, walked to the window, and said, "You did the right thing coming to me. Leave this with me. I'll handle my end." It wasn't a threat. It was a death sentence for Ethan's golden key. Step 3. My wife's undoing. As much as Hannah had confessed, she wasn't innocent, but she had unknowingly handed me something critical. She still had access to Ethan's inner circle. Their emails, the group chats, the private gossip they thought I'd never see. And she felt guilty. So I asked for one last favor. Tell me everything you know. Names, places, timelines. If you really want to make this right, help me burn them all down. She agreed. And with that, I started building the drop, a digital folder of evidence, testimonials, screenshots, and compiled communications from Ethan's network. Every lie, every deception, all time-stamped, cross-verified, and ready to explode. By the end of the week, I had enough ammunition to ruin 2 marriages, a business empire, and every fake friend who had laughed behind my back. But I wasn't done. Yet, I had something even bigger in mind. A public event, a scene no one would ever forget. And Ethan had already unknowingly invited me to it. His post-wedding business gala, a celebration of the new partnership between his startup and Gerald Lungden's conglomerate. The night would be perfect because that's when everything would come crashing down. Chapter 4. The Gala Bombshell. The grand ballroom at the Langdon Plaza Hotel glowed with chandeliers and luxury. Men in tailored suits and women in flowing gowns mingled under the glitter of success. The gala was meant to celebrate the merger between Ethan's tech company and Gerald Langdon's empire, a night to honor vision, trust, and family. The irony wasn't lost on me. Ethan stood on stage, arm wrapped around Alyssa, smiling like he'd won the lottery, which, in a way, he had. Marrying the daughter of a billionaire was his ultimate con. The cameras loved him. The guests applauded. But they hadn't seen what I was about to show them. 10:14 p.m. showtime. I waited until dessert was being served. The crowd had settled into their chairs, half listening to Gerald give his speech about innovation and integrity. That's when I made my move. I signaled the event tech manager, someone I'd paid generously, to grant me 1 minute of access to the main projector. 1 minute was all I needed. The lights dimmed, the screen lit up, and the first thing that appeared was a photo. Ethan and one of his side women, half-dressed, kissing in a hotel hallway. Murmurs rippled through the room. Chairs shifted. Gerald stopped mid-sentence, slowly, turning toward the screen, his face already turning pale. Then came a time-stamped list of Ethan's hotel visits, then screenshots of messages. "You're way better in bed than Alyssa. She's so dull. This deal's almost closed. After that, I'm set for life." The final image, Ethan's message to a friend. "Marrying Alyssa is like winning the financial Olympics." Gasps, a few stifled cries. One of Alyssa's cousins stood and yelled, "Is this some kind of joke?" Number? It wasn't. And the best part? I wasn't even in the room. The fallout I watched from across the street. Standing in a quiet hotel bar with a view of the ballroom through floor-to-ceiling windows, I saw the chaos unfold like a silent movie. Gerald dropped the microphone. Alyssa shoved Ethan away so hard he fell into the dessert table. Security moved in, not for me, but to escort Ethan out. Within 12 hours, the deal was canceled. Gerald severed all ties. Alyssa filed for an annulment, citing fraud. Ethan's company stock crashed overnight due to rumors of scandal and fraud leaking to the press. I'd made sure the right blogs had everything. Several of his business partners backed out after reading through the Dropbox I'd sent earlier that morning. As for Hannah, I didn't forgive her, but I didn't destroy her either. She lost my trust, but she helped dismantle Ethan's illusion, and that counted for something. 1 week later, I received a plain white envelope at my office. No name, just an embossed family crest. Inside, a handwritten note from Gerald Langdon. You exposed what I refused to see. You have my respect and my thanks. If you ever want to discuss the future, my door is open. I smiled. Not because I needed a favor, but because Ethan had finally lost the one thing he valued most: control. Chapter 5. Closure. It's been 11 months since that night at the Langdon Gala. In that time, the world changed for everyone involved, but especially for me. After everything fell apart for Ethan, he tried to bounce back. He launched a startup with borrowed capital, but investors pulled out when the full scandal hit the press. No one wanted to associate with a manipulator who weaponized marriage for money. The last I heard, he was living in a cramped apartment in a low-end neighborhood, dodging lawsuits from disgruntled shareholders and begging mutual friends for a second chance. Most never replied. Alyssa went radio silent. I respected that. She didn't deserve the humiliation. But she wasn't blameless either. I heard she moved to Europe to start over, and I hope she found peace. As for Hannah, she wrote me a long email. A few months ago, wasn't an apology, not really, more like a confession. She talked about how Ethan manipulated her too. How he made her feel special and seen during a time when our marriage was coasting on autopilot. I didn't excuse her, but I forgave her, not for her, but for me. Now, I live in a quiet lakeside cabin 2 hours outside the city. I work remotely, consulting, advising, and sometimes just reading novels on the porch with a cup of black coffee and the sunrise for company. There's no noise here, no pretending, no betrayal, just quiet. A while ago, I met someone new, not flashy, not dramatic. She's kind, grounded, and thoughtful. Someone who asks about my day and actually listens. We take things slow, a tea and the other. Day she looked at me while we were walking in the woods and said, "You seem like someone who's been through hell but made it out stronger." I smiled and told her the truth.